Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. Keep in mind that what has come from the churches, the mosques, the synagogues, the social clubs, the nerds, the craftsmen, what have you. To some degree, every other culture but my culture, which is universal pinpointing moral precision, is all that kind of Harry Potter, Mickey Mouse, Merlin, Wizard of Oz nonsense that people are living. Here in California especially, everywhere you look, it's a variation of that. Every culture you can think of. Occultists, magic card people. It's something that dominates every culture but mine. Police, gangs, corporations, just workers at stores. You name it. There isn't a single type of person you come across here who isn't accepting the boundaries of the beast, of witchcraft, except for me. Right? Witchcraft. All of them but the moral precision, right? Because they're living illusion. 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 So now let's see what Hosea 4 has to say about this. We'll go over Hosea 5 as well. And you'll see that I'm right and that people are being very silly, very foolish. Hosea 4, the charge against Israel, and in this case, the charge against the world. And again, after my flesh dies, there's no redemption. Okay, the reality of the situation is the Bible is written in a way to confuse you people, but there's some interesting stuff there. But the bottom line is there won't be a path for people to do God's work after my flesh dies, so everyone's forbidden to reproduce, and everyone must obey God through me right away or go to hell. It's pretty simple, right? Hear the word of the Lord, you Israelites, because the Lord has a charge to bring against you who live in the land. There is no faithfulness, no love, no acknowledgement of God in the land. There is only cursing, lying, and murder, stealing and adultery. They break all bonds, and bloodshed follows bloodshed. Because of this, the land dries up, and all who live in it waste away. They waste away. Look at people carefully. Are they in the spirit of universal pinpoint and moral precision from God, the essence of pure water, the essence of holiness? No. They're wasting away. Look at them carefully. Don't let their products confuse you, their lifestyle confuse you, their psychology, their technology, their sabotage campaign, their contrast games. Look at them carefully. Ask yourselves, is what they're doing right? Or is it just mere social norms, human rules, customs, traditions, and propaganda? Because of this, the land dries up, and all who live in it waste away. The beasts of the field, the birds in the sky, and the fish in the sea are swept away. But let no one bring a charge, let no one accuse another, for your people are like those who bring charges against a priest. You stumble day and night, and the prophets stumble with you. So I will destroy your mother. Okay, it will destroy your nation, right? Your father and mother are, in the case of the holy, it's God in the New Jerusalem in the sky. In the case of the people on the earth, it's Babylon's system and the devil. So it will destroy Babylon, destroy the devil. My people are destroyed from lack of knowledge of universal pinpoint and moral precision is obviously what it's saying. Because you have rejected knowledge of universal pinpoint and moral precision by living it, I also reject you as my priest because you have ignored the law of your God. I also will ignore your children. The more priests there were, the more they sinned against me. They exchanged their glorious God for something disgraceful. They feed on the sins of my people and relish their wickedness. And we see in Hosea 10, it talks about them eating the fruit of deception, right? They're feeding on deception. They're feeding on sins. They're feeding on the sin of cheating me out of my rightful place, and they're relishing on the wickedness that is the resulting wickedness of cheating me. To cheat me is to cheat God. God set me apart to lead. And it will be like people, like priests. I will punish both of them for their ways and repay them for their deeds, right? For their deeds. Not merely for their lack of faith, but the faith that is required produces deeds. It bears fruit. They will eat but not have enough. They will engage in prostitution but not flourish, because they have deserted the Lord. To give themselves to prostitution. So they will engage in prostitution. Why? Because as soon as you cheat me out of my right to lead, you're a prostitute, males and females alike. You're males and female prostitutes of your shrines, so to speak, of your paths, of your ways, of the nation, of the corporations, of your cults, of your family ways, what have you. because you have deserted universal pinpoint and moral precision to give yourself to psychology, technology, theater arts, mere human rules, customs, traditions, you name it. Old wine and new wine take away their understanding. What you live and die for, and what you give for every generation, the spirit that you're in, the way you do things, your paths, it takes away your understanding. My people consult a wooden idol, and a diviner's rod speaks to them. A spirit of prostitution leads them astray. They are unfaithful to their God. So the spirit that you're in is a spirit of prostituting yourself to other ideas, selling yourself cheap, selling your bodies, your souls to despicable ideas. It leads you astray, alpha stray. You are unfaithful to God and I. They sacrifice on the mountains and burn offerings on the hills, under oak, poplar, and terebinth, where the shade is pleasant. Therefore your daughters turn to prostitution, and your daughters-in-law to adultery. So just like it says in Hosea 10, right? They'll call to the hills and the mountains, fall on us. They'll call to the places where they sacrifice their burnt offerings, the mountaintops, the hills. They sacrifice their children's souls as they commit to the ways of the world, of the state, what have you, which is part of the ways of the world. And they lead their children by example into hell. Now, what it says next is confusing. This is part of why I don't like the Bible. What it's saying is not that the children of prostitution won't be punished, or that women can magically, prostitute themselves and magically not be punished. Okay, what it's saying is like, it's saying in a way that's very confusing, that's counterintuitive. It's saying they will be punished, but it's like the prophet is ranting. Okay, for example, if I was to say, Morgan Hill is doing the wrong thing, and every female is acting like a complete whore, okay, but I'm not going to punish them because the guys are going out like bitches. What I'm saying is that I'm going to punish them, but I'm saying it in a way that reflects that I'm angry, okay? Yes, they're going to go to hell, but I'm not going to slap them across the face or something. That's what it's saying. So when it says, I will not punish your daughters when they turn to prostitution, okay, that's what it's saying. I will not punish your daughters when they turn to prostitution, nor your daughters-in-law when they commit adultery, because the men themselves consort with harlots and sacrifice with shrine prostitutes. A people without understanding will come to ruin. This also highlights what I've been saying for years, that you males have been going out like punks. You haven't been saying, hey, I don't care what the consequences are. Over my dead body, my family's dead body. You haven't been saying that. Instead, you've been insisting on them, being evil. You tell your daughters to join the military and police at times. They join gangs. They do reckless, dangerous stuff. They abuse substances. But you won't tell them to obey God and put on everything on the line for God. It's cowardly. It is cowardly. You are like male prostitutes of the shrine. You are a group without understanding, a planet without understanding. And a planet without understanding will come to ruin, and after my flesh dies, with no way back. Though you, Israel, commit adultery, do not let Judah become guilty. Do not go to Gilgal. Do not go up to Beth Aven. Beth Aven means house of wickedness, a derogatory term for Bethel, like Bethlehem, Bethel, which means house of God. And of course, Bethlehem, house of God in Ham. Bethlehem, 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 Bethlehem. Jesus of Nazareth in Bethlehem. The house of Ham, Amos 9:7. It's encoded in there, just like Moses means to draw out, but a lot of people don't know that, because what they're really saying is encoded in the story in ways like that. If you don't believe me, think about the characteristics of people. No bad tree can bear good fruit. No good tree can bear bad fruit. But it's really subcultural. It's subracial, right? It's my line. After my flesh dies, there will be no valid representative of God. Even if my brothers have 1,000 children each. Okay. And do not swear as surely as the Lord lives. The Israelites are stubborn, like a stubborn heifer. How then can the Lord pasture them like lambs in a meadow? Ephraim is joined to idols. Leave him alone. Even when their drinks are gone, they continue their prostitution. Their rulers dearly love shameful ways. A whirlwind will sweep them away, and their sacrifices will bring them shame. And this connects to Jeremiah 4:13. Look, he advances like the clouds. His chariots come like a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe to us, we are ruined. Is the whirlwind literal? No. Is the cloud that Christ comes back, that Christ came back on literal? No. And you all are in rebellion. You know why you're not gathered into the clouds? We'll read the parable of the 10 virgins. Because you didn't keep your lamps burning. And the virgins can refer to, a grouping of people, a nation, a church, what have you. You weren't in a grouping as an individual. You know why your grouping's in the spiritual realm? Or in a grouping of people that's alive that was prepared to obey God when I came back. And it caused you to be far from me. It caused you to miss it. It caused you to fail. God found you wanting and insufficient. And you're the types of people that no matter how many people overhear what I'm saying when I'm speaking outside in Gilroy and Oakland and Santa Cruz, wherever, Morgan Hill, San Jose, that you do not respond by obeying God through me. You just keep obeying the devil. Maybe there's an empty gesture. Maybe there's a look of guilt on your face, but you keep on the path of wickedness. The wicked who feel bad about being wicked are still wicked. Faith without works is empty. It's dead. It's useless. It's deplorable. And so when we see those groups of people, those three main groups I'm going to zoom in on because they sought to try to look good while trying to make it so I look and sound bad. Right? The tall, arrogant English or German person, Nordic person, every race like them. Okay, in a fancy suit or something, or in church or whatever group that they're in, trying to play it off. Okay, they're in a spirit of prostitution leads them away. It leads them astray. It leads the nerd astray. No matter how elegant the nerd tries to be, it leads him astray. The craftsman, he can go to the police ball, it still leads him astray. He can be barely scraping by and giving what little he has, what little extra he has to the poor. He's still led astray by a spirit of prostitution. Just because you're not the most despicable, evil person that ever lived doesn't mean you're not evil. That's why narrow is the way to life and broad is the way to destruction. That's why in Proverbs it says there's a way that appears right, but in the end it leads to death. Okay? And it's connected. Your paths are like paths that lead to that way when you think that you're doing the right thing and you're not. Thank you.